Welcome to Your Yes Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle, educator, healer, speaker, guide, and fierce advocate for your yes. I help sensitive and successful men and women find, reclaim, and live from their full embodied yes. Through empowering you to understand your energetic hygiene, establish healthy boundaries, and heal your nervous system, you'll be able to create your yes-filled life and move through your days with more freedom, more ease, and more joy. You'll hear inspiring stories of people who found their full-bodied yes, thought leaders who pursued their own dreams and are living life on their terms, and learn new ways to find the courage, joy, ease, and freedom to more fully step into your yes-filled life. Say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Join me on this journey to discover your yes-filled life. Whether you're looking to break free from the golden handcuffs, start a new business, find your dream job, or simply live with more intention and mindfulness, I've got you covered. Let's explore the possibilities together and make your dreams a reality. Ready? Let's do this. Let's get you to your yes-filled life. Hello, and welcome back to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. One of the things that's been on my heart lately is a question, which is, how can I better serve you? And one of the things that I'm realizing is I want to go behind the scenes with you more. So I'm going to be sharing the entire module 1 of a brand new group coaching program I'm offering called Second Chapter. This one's for you. I'll be sharing it to my email list and on social media for the next month. So if we're not connected on social media, go follow me right now on Instagram at Brenda Winkle and on Facebook at brenda.winkle111 because you're going to get the entire module 1 of Second Chapter. This one's for you. And be sure that you are a part of my email list. It's really easy to sign up to join my email list. You can just download one of my freebies. So you could do the Feel Better Fast guide by going to brendawinkle.com/feel better fast. You can access free breath work by going to brendawinkle.com/breathe, or you can join me for a free 3-day challenge called Yes to Me that is going live May 14th, May 15th, and May 17th by registering at brendawinkle.com/yes to me. That's YESTOME. And be sure that we're connected because you are going to want all of this content. It is pure gold. It's my best work ever. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of this group coaching program that I can't wait to share it with you because I just know it's going to be supportive. So make sure that you have ways to access that. And without any further ado, let's dive in, go behind the scenes into your next chapter, navigating or creating change. So you're here for your next chapter. And I would love to know, are you in a chapter where you're creating a change or are you in a chapter where you're navigating a change? What's true for you? And yes, it is still Mercury retrograde. It's Mercury retrograde till the 25th. We don't enter the shadow of Mercury retrograde until the 26th of April. So yep, indeed. So I can't wait. Creating and navigating. Yeah. Mhm. So, in this webinar, I'm going to show you a 7-step framework for navigating or creating change. And by the end of our time together, you'll be confident and excited knowing you can either navigate the change that you're experiencing, maybe a change that you did not choose, as well as you can create a change that you are consciously choosing. You are here because you feel ready to remember who you really are. And you want to help other people do the same because you have a calling, even if you're not sure what that is. Does that sound like you? Thumbs up if that sounds like you. Yep. I'm seeing lots of thumbs up. You're here because you're willing to let go of feeling bad or self conscious for wanting what you want, even if you're not sure how to do that. Give me a thumbs up if that's you. Awesome. Awesome. And you're here because you feel ready for your turn. You've spent the last chapter or maybe multiple chapters caring for others, your family, your career, your friends, and now you get to create this next chapter for you. Give me a thumbs up if that's you. So many thumbs up. Amazing. So if we haven't met, and I know that the people that are here with me now, I've met you all and love you all. But if we haven't met and you're watching the replay, my name is Brenda Winkle. I'm an advanced trauma informed breathwork facilitator and somatic coach. I'm an Asui Reiki master teacher, advanced theta healing practitioner, advanced Clendening practitioner. I have a master's degree in educational leadership. My work has been featured in Metro, Telegraph, Top Sante, Platinum, Brand U Magazine, Authority Magazine, Medium.com, and I've been on more than 40 podcasts. So I all that's to say I'm doing work that people seem to like. And so I'm excited to share it with you. I've been in business since 2015, but I've been full-time since 2022. So before we even dive in today, I want you to imagine yourself, it's 1 year from today. It's April 12th, 2025. How are you feeling? What are you doing? Where are you? Who are you with? Allow yourself just to futurescape a minute. Does that feel good? Awesome. Yeah, I love it. So, you've been taught and socialized to believe that having desires and needs of your own is selfish, maybe even distasteful. I'm going to show you in this webinar why it's not selfish, but it's actually the most generous thing you can do to prioritize yourself in your next chapter. So here's where we're going. We're going to start with your energy first. We're going to start with breath work. Then we're going to talk about how to find peace in the chaos, why taking care of you is actually generous. We'll talk about how to reclaim your power. I'll share the 7-step framework to navigate or create change. I'll share how to work with me, and then we'll have questions. Sound okay? All right. So, when we talk about breath work, we're talking about your energy first. The things that are happening around you may not be your fault. They probably aren't your fault, but how you respond is your responsibility. And one of the ways that you can take responsibility for your energy is through breath work. Have you ever heard the phrase, don't touch the baby before you wash your hands? Okay, so that's what this is. When we attend to our energy first, we're making sure that our energy is squeaky clean, and then everything else unfolds around us in a really beautiful way because people feel the energetic birthplace. So it doesn't matter whether you're sending a text or an email, or you're writing an article, or you're doing a blog post, or you're writing a podcast, or you're writing an article, or you're just going to go call your friend. People feel the energetic birthplace of where you are. So when you tend to your energy first, that birthplace feels a lot better to everyone around you. So before we dig into our breathwork experience, I would love to know, go ahead and put it in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling today? 1 being like, I feel like a bag of balls. 10 feeling like, I feel amazing. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? I see a 9, a 6, a 3. Yeah, there's so much love for all of these numbers and for all of the variations. I see a 7, a 4. Yeah. So just know that no matter where you are, you're in the right place for you. And there's no judgment. And it would be shocking to me if you didn't start feeling better as soon as breath work was complete. So I'm going to invite you to get comfortable. And that might mean that you just, put a blanket beside you or on top of you so that you can just rest and be happy. Are you ready to transform the way you see yourself so you can step into the fulfillment and self actualization of a life you really deserve? If you said yes, come join me for the free 3-day challenge, Yes to Me. It's a 3-day challenge that will be live May 14th, May 15th, and May 17th. And yes, there is a replay. You will feel better in every way. You'll gain confidence. You'll learn how to protect your energy. You'll be able to speak up more easily. You'll be spending time getting aligned with what you value. You'll develop the courage to make the changes you really want to make in your life. You'll learn how you can make these changes without feeling selfish. In fact, you'll learn how to say yes to you. You'll learn how to better show up for you. We'll be doing some nervous system healing so that you actually can create the changes you want to make. And you'll also be noticing that when your nervous system expands, you can do all kinds of things you've only dreamed about up to this point. To register for this 3-day challenge, just go to brendawinkle.com/yes to me, YESTOME. The link is in the show notes. I can't wait to see you there. This free 3-day workshop is for you if you feel like you're on the cusp of a new phase in your personal or your professional life and you're ready to explore and unleash that fire burning inside you, or maybe you want to ignite one. This is for you if you recognize the importance of self care and well being, and you want practical tools and insights so that you can incorporate more of it into your life. This is for you if you feel eager to make meaningful changes that have a significant impact on the quality of your life and your surroundings. And this is for you if you are looking for a sensitive and supportive community that values growth, transformation, and empowerment. After these free 3 days, you're going to feel empowered, renewed, connected, inspired, confident, optimistic, uplifted, motivated, and more deeply connected to your inner strengths and capabilities, ready to implement what you've learned and embrace your next steps with enthusiasm. Join me live to experience breathwork healing, meditations to support you, and energetic techniques that are going to heal your nervous system and elevate your energy. I can't wait to see you there. Register at brendawinkle.com/yes to me. So, breathwork gets you out of your structured mind, meaning you can't think your way out of feeling badly. We have to get into the body and release it in the body. And that's how we can start to feel better. Mindset work makes up about 20% or less of any transformation. I mean, yeah, it's 20%. So if we forget it, we're only getting a B minus if we forget the mindset work. But the bulk of the work comes from releasing the stored emotions and trauma in the body, which is why when we release with tears through breath work, or we're experiencing those emotions, we're actually doing really deep, really important work. Breathwork supports you to do the inner work and provides lasting healing and transformation because it's a body-based healing modality. And I just posted today on my stories a podcast episode on the School of Greatness with Lewis Howe. He was interviewing a somatic trauma therapist, and it's a great interview that explains why we can't do the healing we want with mindset work or talk therapy alone. So Caroline McGrath is a master Jungian therapist and a breathwork facilitator. And she said, my breathwork session with Brenda was such an incredible experience, a mix of releasing and receiving and allowing myself to unhook from my mind and tap into my body. Brenda brings her gifts of energy work to her sessions, and I had such a beautiful experience. I highly recommend breathing with Brenda. She's a gift. So I'd love to know in the chat, how do you feel now on a scale of 1 to 10? Go ahead and put that number in the chat. How are you feeling since you breathed? Did the number move? Did it not move? There's no right or wrong answer. Okay, I'm seeing a 10, moving from a 9 to a 10. I'm seeing moving from a 7 to a 9. Someone's came in as a 10 and still a 10. That's amazing. Same, but tired now. Okay. And now we move from a 3 to a 6. Okay. Yeah. So if you're tired now, what that means is that your body has just finally come into rest and digest. And when we come into that rest and digest, if we've been in a constant stress state, the first thing we feel is tired because the stress state kept us moving. We had all that cortisol and adrenaline moving in the body. And so it's actually a good sign that healing is happening, even though the tiredness may not be comfortable. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So let's move on to pillar number 2, finding peace in the chaos. You actually have two nervous systems. You have your sympathetic nervous system, which is your stress response. This is where your body decides if you need to go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And You also have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is where your body decides to go into rest and digest. And I can't see my notes right now because I'm screen sharing my whole screen. So I might repeat a couple things in some slides. But here's the thing you really want to know: your vagus nerve is the longest nerve in your body. But it's not just like linear. It doesn't go from point A to point B. It's like a tree, and it goes from the base of your skull down to the base of your spine. And it impacts every single major organ system all the way down. When you're in the sympathetic nervous system and you're in a stress response, that vagus nerve is offline, meaning you're going to have difficulty with maintaining your heart rate or your blood pressure. Breathing might feel difficult. Like you might actually be breathing shallowly, and it might not be something you can help because of the stress response, meaning the vagus nerve isn't helping your lungs. It can also cause digestive upset or stomach issues because the vagus nerve isn't helping our digestive system. So we want to bring our vagus nerve online. And one of the ways to do that is with breath work. That's one of the ways we bring our vagus nerve back online. You can also start to bring it online with a couple other things. Have you heard of the square breath or the box breath, where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and hold for 4? If you breathe that for a series of maybe 3 to 5 minutes, you can start to bring that vagus nerve online. And then for a supercharged boost, you can put yourself into a heart hug, which is 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down, open your hands, cross your hands, hold your hands, and then bring them up. When you combine mindful breathing and this heart hug, and you stay there for 2 to 5 minutes, you'll bring your vagus nerve back online. And so that can be a really nice thing. So then the key is to maintaining that feeling, and you might have to do it multiple times in a day. It's not like you can bring your vagus nerve online one time and then it's there to stay. That's not how it works. It's like brushing your teeth. You're going to have to do it more than once. And if you eat something with a lot of onions, you're going to have to do it even more than twice a day. You might have to do it right after you eat the onions. The same is true in your life. If you have a really, really stressful event, you might need to do the vagus nerve activities more than once, meaning you need to do breath work or play with your fur baby or go outside and take a walk or dance it out. All of those things are ways that we know we can bring the vagus nerve back online. So, my mentor, Samantha Skelly, the founder of Pause Breathwork, says how you're breathing is how you're living. So, how are you breathing? Are you breathing shallowly? Or are you taking full, deep, expansive breaths? Because how you're breathing on a day-to-day basis is how you're living. So when we talk about breath work is in the umbrella of meditation. It's a form of meditation, but for many people it's easier to access because it gives you something to think about. Known benefits of breathwork include reduced stress, lower blood pressure, managed pain, feeling more connected, being more resilient, having less anxiety, and the list goes on. I have a Google alert set for breathwork on my like Google whatever, and I'm telling you, every single day there's 2 to 5 new articles being published about the benefits of breathwork. So, can you imagine how you might be able to add more breath work to your life right now? Could you do a square breath in the bathroom? Could you attend more breathwork sessions? Could you set timers so that you're just taking a few minutes to mindfully breathe? Can you download a breathwork app? I have a free month trial if you want one. Just message me privately and I can give you a free month trial. So I'd love to know, how could you add more breathwork in your life so that you can bring that vagus nerve on more and more and more regularly? Tell us in the chat what you think you might do, and we can kind of crowdsource this. Because when you start to be really intentional about having a regular breathwork practice in your life, you're going to be amazed at the benefits because you're retraining your nervous system to process emotions. Okay, do it sometimes when you're driving. Yeah, that's an option. Be careful about um the 3-part breath. The triactive breath, don't breathe with that because that takes you into an altered consciousness state, and we don't want you in an altered consciousness when you're driving. All right. So just do the two-part breath. Great. Yeah. Accessing Tuesday Live Breathwork on Instagram. Excellent. Yes, that's an option. I offer free breathwork every Tuesday, unless I'm out of town or something. That's a great way to do it. Um, you can access recordings. You can go to YouTube. There's all kinds of things. So pillar number 3 is taking care of your needs and desires is generous. Here's why. You can only offer as much love to others as you're willing to give yourself. So if you're holding back on yourself, unintentionally, you're holding back on everyone else in your life because you can't show up more loving to someone else in your life than you're showing up for you, which means that the more loving you are to yourself, the more loving you are to everyone. So you can muscle through and give stuff you don't have in a lot of arenas in life, except for love. You can't give more love than you're showing to yourself. So it's really important to turn the lens of friendship onto you. Are you being a good friend to you? When you're under resourced, you're tired, you're hungry, you're dehydrated, you're exhausted, depleted, stressed, you're not showing up as your best self, right? You know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But if energy is everything, and it is, what's the impact when you feel under resourced and you muscle through things? Do you think other people can feel that? Yeah, I think so too. The same way that you know when someone doesn't want to do something, people feel that from you. So sometimes we kid ourselves and we think, I'm the only one that's sensitive. I'm the only one that's going to pick up on this. But the truth is, even people who wouldn't identify as sensitive can feel when you don't want to do something. I had a principal once. And she was the least sensitive person that I'd ever met, like the least tuned in to anything other than what she was doing. And she could tell when I didn't want to do something. And it was a real eye opener for me because I thought, I mean, I'm a little embarrassed to tell you this, but I thought I was the sensitive one. I thought I could pick up on what other people wanted to do or not wanted to do. And when this woman, who was the least sensitive person I'd ever met, could tell that I didn't want to do the thing she was asking me to do and called me on it was a real wake up call. Because if we're showing up in our lives doing things we don't want to do, it's impacting not only us, but everyone in our circle. And so if we have team members, they're seeing us doing that and they'll model it. If we have children, they see us do that and they'll model it. So, how do you want people to feel around you? And how do you want to feel? Tell us in the comments. How do you want people to feel around you? And how do you want to feel? I want people to feel loved and seen. I want people to feel that I'm present with them, that I'm noticing them and paying attention. And so I'm seeing in the chat, there's a 30-day heart coherence collaborative challenge that started this week. And then to answer this question, I'm seeing open and calm. Want people to feel open and calm. Yeah, I can see that. And I'm seeing lots of typing. Relaxed. You want people to feel relaxed and you want to feel relaxed. Engaged on both sides. Yeah. Seen and heard, a sense of belonging. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. If you're not finished, there's still time. Um, but we're going to move on to pillar number 4. Okay, true. Yeah. I love that. And so I'm sort of feeling into that you're speaking truth, that there's an honesty and integrity. Is that what you meant? Yeah. Okay. So, pillar number 4 is reclaiming your power. Now, here's the thing, reclaiming your power is actually not about power. That might be shocking, but it's true. Reclaiming your power is actually taking responsibility for your energy and how you're responding to things. So, we don't claim power by power grabbing, because that's power over. We see that dynamic modeled all the time. We see it in politics, we see it in medicine, we see it in traditional education where someone has power over and someone has power under. But that's not actually the power dynamic I'm talking about. I'm talking about the shared power where I can have power with you. We can share the power. And in order for that to happen, you have to be able to trust that I've got me, and I have to be able to trust that you've got you. That's shared power. I've got me, you've got you. And that means we all have to take responsibility for our energy and our responses, the way that we're showing up. Kendra said, I love this picture of you, Kendra. She said, "You've helped me identify, name, and heal things that were constantly holding me back, but that I was somewhat or totally unconscious of. You're helping me heal those things that have made it unsafe to fully live out my purpose. You've also helped redefine what safety, unsafety, and trauma can look like and feel like. I only ever thought of safety as a physical safety, and I have thankfully not been in many situations where I feel physically unsafe. And I never really felt I had the right to have trauma since the big T traumas never happened to me." How many of you relate to that? Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And Jill said, "You have a way of getting right to the root of flow or lack of flow, and I always feel so much better. The most surprising thing is how much more in tune I am with my body and my mind. Also, how much more connected I am to the others in the group. I feel like we all have so much in common, and it's really strong. I started to gain confidence and empowerment of what I know to be true about me. I was in a hamster wheel of a career and I needed a change. Retiring and starting my sound healing business is just the start of something big. I can feel it. I can feel it too. And I got to meet her husband, Dan, last week. That was so much fun. I love it. And I'm seeing in the chat, I want people to feel that I'm present with them and I'm a safe place to be themselves. I want to feel accepted for who I really am and not the smaller version that I've been being, so as not to make others uncomfortable. Ooh, yeah. That's that's awesome. So I want to know something. I want to know what lights you up. When do you feel like, "Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. This feels so good." What lights you up? And I also want to know what depletes you. What is it that just like as soon as you think about it, you need a nap? Like you just you're like, "Oh, I don't want to do that thing." What lights you up? What depletes you? Tell us in the comments. Okay. Light up time in the mountains and meaningful conversations. Light up um, travel, being outside, singing, being with my family. Oh, I love those. I love those. For me, it would be at the ocean, music, videos of Dax, a grandson, sitting by the pond, music. Yeah. Podcast conversations light me up. Working, sitting for hours makes me tired. Oh, I love that, Amy. Amy has a great podcast. It is about like being sustainable living. I can't remember the title of it, Amy. Can you drop it in the chat? I was a guest on the podcast about a year ago, and it was such an amazing. She's a great podcast host. You should give it a listen. Grounded in Maine. Thank you. Yeah, Grounded in Maine. So give that podcast a listen. She talks a lot about sustainability with tips and things that you can do to keep things eco-friendly. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. So when we talk about, we had one example of things that deplete, meaning like sitting, working for hours makes me tired. Um, so for me, like dancing really lights me up. That is super energizing. If I go dancing, then I can come back and get lots of different things. Gossip, absolutely. Gossip is exhausting. I feel that way too. Um, let's see, lights me up. Collaborating with others on their health, being in my garden, being with those I love, what takes energy away. Think on how I ask people what's owed to me, especially money. Yeah, that can definitely be depleting. So as we think about this, there's a reason. Okay, what feels energy rich? Here's why I'm pointing to this. And we had one more drop in, another depleting, small talk, big, loud, noisy environments. Oh, for sure, for sure. So when we think about energy richness, reclaiming your power is done step by step, day by day, by following energy richness. Do more of what lights you up and do less of what is not lighting you up. That's energy richness. If you can do that one thing, you're going to be amazed at how everything else in your life just starts like a domino row to fall into place. But we don't give ourselves space or grace to follow joy or energy richness. And that's a mistake. We want to follow the energy richness. Another thing dropped in the chat, being around energy vampires, for sure. That's a hard pass for me. Yeah. All right. So let's dig into the 7 step framework for navigating change. There are 7 steps to navigate or create change. They are habits, embodiment, priorities, connection and boundaries, communication, intuition, and personal empowerment. Those are the 7 steps. And you'll notice these also align with the chakras because they do align with the chakras. So the habits that got you here are not the habits that will take you there. Whether you have chosen the change or not, the habits that got you here are not going to take you there. Why? Because they're not energetically congruent. In order for you to become the next version of yourself, we're going to have to address the habits. Maybe those habits are thinking negatively or being around people who deplete you. Or maybe it is just that you are prioritizing your health, but you're not doing the things you know you need to do. The habits that got you here are not the habits that are going to take you there. So you can kind of think about, where in my life am I showing up as an old version of myself with my habits? And where in my life can I show up as a new version? Sometimes we have to behave our way into success with the habits that we are willing to live. MJ LaRoque is a breathwork facilitator and somatic coach, and she said, I feel I'm free to be me, and my true self can shine through. I can use my voice and speak my truth, full of joy for what lies ahead. Brenda's feelings are so accurate, and she sends us messages throughout the journey if it is good for us, while leaving us space for our own revelations, which allowed me to feel better what I had need to feel, to see, and to hear. She really knows how to set the right dance, the right rhythm for us, so that we can receive what needs to be seen, to be received, and what needs to receive our love, so that we can move forward more fairly and true with ourselves. So, the second pillar of the framework for change is embodiment. Embodiment is putting the change into the body. Are you moving and living as the person you want to become? Are you healing in the body? Do you have a regular somatic practice? Are you doing breath work? Are you getting somatic coaching? Are you feeling into the body, or are you pretending your body's not there? Are you like not even feeling the body, and unless it's like really screaming at you? That's pretty common for most of us. We ignore the body until it's like, "Hey, over here, here's a big health crisis for you." That happens for so many of us. But when we get into the body, and we lead and live from the body by embodying the change we want, then things start to line up for us. If we don't embody the change we want to make, we can't make the change. And this embodiment, this is the reason why we self sabotage. Literally, this is related to embodiment. When we can embody the version of ourselves that we want to be, we stop self sabotaging, but we have to feel it in the body. If I want to be the CEO of a $100 million company, I have to embody that first before it can ever become reality. That means my old sweatpants that I wear when I walk the dog first thing in the morning probably don't belong in a $100 million CEO's closet. So those sweatpants have got to go. Now, it's not about the money. It's not about like how much the sweatpants cost. It's, how do I feel when I'm in them? Do I feel like $100 million CEO when I wear those sweatpants? If the answer is anything other than yes, then they have to go. And that's the same way with everything you put on your body, everything you put in your body, the ways that you spend your time, the ways you spend your money, your energy, and who you're spending time with. Is it in the body? Which leads us to our next our next pillar, which is priorities. One of the main reasons that people get really discouraged about trying to implement a change is that their priorities don't match up with their values. So, your priorities, how you spend your time, your energy, your money, are really, really important to get clear on. Because when you can align those priorities with how you're spending your time, your money, your energy, everything lines up. It's essential to navigate change this way. We can't do it if we don't look at our priorities. Do your priorities match your values? We want them to. And sometimes it takes tweaking and adjusting. And then we have to go back to step one, which is the habits, and say, oh, guess what? The way that I'm spending my time doesn't actually reflect what is important to me. So I'm going to have to look at some habits. And then we go back up through the embodiment process. When you get this piece, it's like rocket fuel for your goal. It's really, really important. Connection and boundaries is the next pillar. So humans need other humans. I mean, we learn and are fueled by relationships, right? But if we don't feel safe in those relationships, then we tend to sabotage them or not have them, or we're avoidant in them, or we're detached from our relationships. So the way to get deeper into the relationship is through healthy connection. And healthy connection starts with healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not a way to keep people out, they're a way to keep people in safely. And for you to maintain your own sovereign identity in relationship with others. And as you're navigating change, you're becoming a new version of yourself. You're becoming a new person. And so communicating those changes become really important because the boundaries that were in your last chapter are probably not the boundaries that are going to work in your new chapter. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. And that brings us to communication. How you speak to yourself and others really matters. When you can view yourself through a loving lens, it becomes so much easier to view other people through a loving lens. If you're not viewing yourself from a loving lens, what happens accidentally for most of us is that we view other people as the enemy. So we project outward and we think, oh, I'm feeling these negative thoughts about myself. And then we don't even, it's not a conscious thing. It's not like I bet they're negative about me. We just like, oh, that guy, he said this and this and this. And then we take it personally. But it's actually just a projection because we're not thinking loving thoughts to ourselves. So every time I get triggered by something or someone, I know it's an opportunity for me to go do some deep inner work. When I feel upset at someone, it is never about the someone. It is always about something inside me. And when I'm clear on that and I go and do the deep inner work and then I come back to communicate, all of a sudden I'm feeling seen and heard. And the person I'm communicating with is feeling seen and heard. And relationships get so much better. And as we create these new chapters for ourselves, this communication piece is really, really important because we want to be seen and heard. And now let's talk about intuition. Everyone has it, but there are more than 26 paths to it. And so the way that you get an intuitive hit is not necessarily going to be the way that I get an intuitive hit. So when we know that there's so many different paths to intuition, we can know that however it's coming in for me is okay. You know what? I can't talk. Blah, blah, blah. You know what one of the biggest blocks to your intuition is? It's your phone. You know why? If you're on it all the time, you're either scrolling social media, on email, sending a text, listening to a podcast, listening to music, you're not creating any space for the intuitive hits to drop in. One of the biggest keys to accessing your intuition is creating space for the intuitive hits to come in. Your intuition's talking to you all the time, but if you don't have a space for it, it's not landing. So creating white space is a beautiful way to start to notice how intuition's coming in for you. And then once you can learn to trust what's coming in, everything else just gets simpler and you'll really know what to do next. Which brings us to the last piece of this framework. When you line up your habits, embodiment, priorities, connections, boundaries, communication, intuition, personal empowerment is just a byproduct of all that work. And it starts to happen almost by itself. It becomes a simple choice. But in this empowerment, we can begin to look at our power dynamics to create power with others so that we're not in power over or power under. But we can't really address that power dynamic until we're in our own personal empowerment. I hope that you enjoyed the behind the scenes look at the Your Next Chapter live event. I love hosting live events. It gives me a chance to really get to meet people and talk to them and find out what's working and what's not working. Also, I just love taking you behind the scenes with me. Thank you for listening to the podcast. And, I hope that you come join me for the Yes to Me Challenge Live. One of the things that I'm personally going through in my life is life is lifing on me right now. I'm in a very difficult season, one of the most difficult seasons I've ever been in. And if I wasn't showing up for myself fully, I don't think I could be functioning in the way that I'm functioning. And so showing up for yourself is not just something I talk about, it's something that I do. And I'm going to be leading you through the practices that I use myself on a daily and weekly basis to support myself, to support my nervous system regulation, and to really enable me to show up for the people in my life that I love in healthy ways, without the codependency, without the guilt, without the shame. And I can't wait to show you how I do it. So be sure you register for the 3 free day challenge. I said that backward, but I think you know what I mean. The free 3 day challenge, Yes to Me, by going to brendawinkle.com/, yes to me, YESTOME. I cannot wait to see you there. And I'd love to know, what is your favorite song currently? I want to know because I'm always looking for great songs to add to the playlist. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for listening to Your Yes Filled Life. Let's create this yes for each other. Because the more that you show up for yourself, the more you empower everybody in your ecosystem to do the same. And the better we take care of ourselves, the more capacity we have to show up for the world. Because you know what? You don't have to look very far to know that the world really needs us to show up in a way that's really different from what's been happening. And I am so grateful for you being on this journey with me. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing in the world. Thank you for showing up for you. So much love for you. Bye for now. Until next time.